Whether you're working with a handheld weapons light on a handgun, or a carbine light, when to turn it off, when to turn it on. Well, obviously, light discipline is critically important when you're in a tactical scenario. So if I'm doing something like a speed reload, a proactive reload, or malfunction clearances, or maybe I'm moving from one position to another, I want to turn that light off. And that's the whole point of a combat light. It's not a utility light that you just turn on and compromise yourself everywhere. You got to turn that thing off, man. So when you're moving from one position to another, time in the light is time as a target. Now you're providing your own light as a target. So we don't want to compromise ourselves like that. So if you're doing a reload, for example, you should be using a momentary only feature of a good combat weapons mounted light, to where when you do let go with that hand, the light goes off, you can reload and come back on the light. The same thing if you move. If I start getting shot at and I'm shooting and I need to move to another position, if I keep the light on, what's the point of even moving at all? Get to a new position, light back on, and shoot, and have the advantage.
But I'm wanting to work my light switches in particular, so as I come up, hit the switch on my rifle to get white light activation for my body shots. Now when I let go of it, because I'm running a pressure pad to do my reload or manipulate the gun, my light's automatically going to come off. So my reload's complete, I'm coming back out, reactivate light, in my case laser, and then go to the head. Rifle's now empty, so I let go of it and the light extinguishes, which is a bonus on the pressure pad. So now as I transition to the pistol, I'm gonna activate my light for the body shots, 1, 2, 3, and then I wanna kill the light as I come back in for my speed reload. So pistol will be in this condition, I want the light to go out. There's a couple of reasons that I want the light to go out during that reload. Reason number one is, I start with my weapon pointed into the bad guy, and now I bring the gun up to conduct a reload. He can tell just from where the light is pointed that the weapon no longer is pointed his direction, and may give him an opportunity to do something that I don't want him to do. Reason number two is, in my case, working in a team environment, I bring the light back up in. I'm now casting a light umbrella in the area of me and my teammates, which illuminates us and allows the bad guy to potentially put effective fire on us. So I want that light extinguished. And then the last reason for me, working my reloads, try to be very efficient with them, but I still occasionally will bobble one, and so during that down gun time, I don't want that light on as a beacon to let the bad guy know where I'm at. So I want it to go completely out, get my reload complete, and then as the gun comes back on, reactivate the light to continue to discriminate, determine if he needs to be shot some more, and if so, be able to prosecute him. But be careful, okay? And if you haven't done a lot of this where you're working through all of these different types of problems, just make sure you're being very deliberate and very intentional with what you're doing. So as you're working switches and doing different things, light, slide releases, magazine releases, triggers, there's a possibility if you're not being careful, you have a bad day. So get some training if you haven't had it with low light procedures. Figure out how you're going to manipulate your lights. Take it in pieces and chunks, and when you're ready, throw the whole thing together as an entire skill drill. Run it for time, check your hits to make sure they actually stand there, and have fun with it.
Whether you're law enforcement, responsible armed citizen, or military, you can put yourself in that position for a second, or look into society and you see these guys out there operating with white lights. And a lot of them tend to just walk around searching with the light constantly on. And so that's a basically moving target, because as we know, time in the light is time as a target. So we want to appear to be like a firefly. And if you ever watch a firefly at night, you try to guess where it is, it's almost impossible sometimes. You know, you think it's going to pop up there, next thing you know, it's somewhere else. So that's how we want to be in a low light environment or a dark environment. We want to be able to search constantly and use the principles now in that low light situation. Number one is reading and adapting the light. What do I look like from the threat's viewpoint? Operating from the lowest levels of light, staying in the shadows, of course. And then using this light as I search through that environment at random heights and different spaces laterally as well. So that way, if I use all those principles while I'm applying this light in a tactical scenario, I look like that firefly, and it's harder for me to get engaged on. And if I do get engaged on, I can light and move, come up from a different position, and now increase my survivability. And then when I do dominate with the light, I increase my hit probability. So if you guys are out there using a white light in a tactical environment, don't forget the applications, don't forget the principles, and make sure you're searching correctly.
All those little techniques and high-speed stuff you're doing are really of no use if you really are not doing and don't understand the fundamentals. One, momentary. Use only when you need to see. Do not activate the light unless you are pointing it in a direction where you actively want to look. Two, realize that there's something happening outside of just that beam of light. Don't be that person that just stares at the campfire and they have no concept of what's going on outside. Number three is, once you've used the light, you gotta move. You've just essentially shot a beam to where you are, and if you don't move, you can't get any more information. You've already scanned everything with the light that you can from that position. Now you've got to change your angle, you've got to change your position, and that only comes by moving.